Hey guys, this is Kim Constable. Welcome to your shoulder workout. I am here today with the lovely
Paul Allen.
Paul's going to be demoing all of the exercises for us today. Now, I want to say before you begin this shoulder workout that it is absolutely imperative that you do the warm-up that comes with this program, because the shoulder joint is a very stable joint, but it is a joint that you can injure very easily. So you want to always make sure that your body is very warm, that there's blood flowing to your muscles, that your cardiovascular system is warmed up, and of course that the shoulder joints are warmed up to lubricate the joints so that you don't get injured. The other thing I want to say is that Paul is a very advanced athlete. He's very experienced in this kind of training, and so he will make some of the more advanced exercises look super, super easy, okay? But you may find them a little more difficult than Paul finds them. They're difficult for him too, but because he's so advanced, he can make them look very easy. So one, I don't want you to be discouraged if you can't do the more advanced version. And two, I want you to really drop back a level if you find yourself struggling at the more advanced. It is much better that you do the easier version of an exercise perfectly with absolutely impeccable form than you do the more advanced version and you struggle and you don't do it with as good form, because you will not get as good results. Okay, ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Excellent. Okay, so the first exercise we are going to do are handstand kick-ups. Now, a lot of people, when they heard there were going to be handstands in this program, were a little concerned. But you don't always have to go into a full handstand whenever you do handstand kick-ups. You just have to get used to holding the weight in your hands and also getting your hips over your head. So Paul is going to demo a couple of different variations that you can do of this exercise. So the first version of a handstand kick-up would be, well, let's talk about the shoulders and the hand first, Paul, will we? So in a handstand, you always want to make sure that your upper body is completely stable. The first thing that I do is I teach people to plug the shoulder sockets, plug the arm bones into the shoulder sockets and then push strongly through the hand. If you could actually feel Paul's arms, they are rock solid, okay? He's taking all of his weight in the arms, they're rock solid. Then you want to broaden through the collarbone, okay? And then really push into the back. His whole upper body is solid. Like if I rocked him, he's not going to move. This is the first thing that you need to work on before you handstand. Then you're going to bend one leg and you're simply going to straighten the back leg, come up on the toe and just kick. Just kick. Really simple. Now here's what most people do when they first start to kick. Go back into a plank position, Paul. Most people start in a plank position. Even bring your shoulders right back. So, walk your body back. Yes, okay. And then kick from there. This is what most people do. They arch their back and this is what your handstand kick-ups may look like to begin, right? This is not what you want to be doing. You want to always try and aim to get the hips over the head. So you're getting this lovely curve in the back. You're keeping the navel drawn to the spine the whole time. And I know I always say that, but it's extremely important. The navel drawn to the spine to keep that curve in the front body, to keep all of the musculature in the front of the body really contracted. That's what's going to stop you from going over in a handstand. It's also what's going to stop you from arching your lower back and potentially hurting your lumbar spine. So whenever you kick up, do it again, Paul. You want to show them, you want to bend one leg in and you just want to move your hips. You see how Paul's hips are hinging? That's what's causing a lovely soft kick up. So you're trying to kick, keeping the back leg straight, hips go over the head, front of the body stays really strong. So the first level of your handstand kick up is simply what Paul showed you. You're going to do 10 kicks on one leg and then you're going to switch to the other and do 10 kicks on the other side. You will find that one leg is more dominant. One leg you will find it's very easy to kick up with and the other one will feel very unnatural. But that's okay, because you just have to strengthen your second good side, as we call it. Now, the second stage of a handstand kick-up is simply that you go a little higher. So you bring your foot on the ground in a little bit closer. The back leg is always super strong. I like to teach this leg to be really activated, really engaged and really strong. And I like to teach, I don't know whether Paul does it this way, but whenever you kick up, the back foot stays flexed. I think that keeping this back leg super strong is going to help the hips come over the head. So Paul's going to demo. You see he's coming a little higher, but he's not actually balancing, and the aim of this exercise is not to balance. The aim is simply to kick, because you want to get the shoulders warmed up, to take the pressure in the shoulders, and also to get the heart warmed up as well. Okay? So you're going to choose your level, and you are going to kick 10 kicks on one leg, and then switch legs, and 10 kicks on the other leg. You ready, Paul? And if you do find yourself balancing, Paul, can we show them a fall? If you do find yourself balancing and panicking, you simply twist to the side and fall out. We do not want anyone to kick up, panic, and then boom, land over on the side. So show them again, Paul. If you do find yourself overbalancing, you twist to the side and come out. Twist to the side. That's a very easy way to come out of a handstand to make sure that you're not going to come over and hurt yourself. Okay, are you ready? 10 kicks each side. Set up with your position, so hands are shoulder distance apart or just a little bit wider. Fingers are super spread. Plug the arm bones into the sockets and then push strongly through the hands. Broaden the scapula and suck the navel to the spine. Whenever you're ready, we're going to kick for 10. Go. Kick. 1, 2. Remember, you're not trying to balance. 3. Suck your belly towards your spine. 4, 5. Hips are over the head if you can. 6. Back legs stay strong. 7, 8, 9, 10. Lovely. Come down onto the knees. Take a break for a second. So you see how Paul's back leg stayed super strong the whole time? That's what you're aiming for in your handstand kicks. Wrists feel okay? You can give your wrists like a little twist if you need to, or a little stretch. Always good to stretch the wrists. We're going to be doing a lot of weight bearing exercises on the arms, so it's really good to stretch your wrists and make sure they're well warmed up. Other side. You ready? These are fun, guys. Enjoy them. Switch legs. And 3, 2, 1, kick. 10, 9, 8, 7. Try to land lightly on the back foot. 6, 5, 4. Back legs stay strong. 3, 2, 1. Well done, guys. Nice. And a little extra one from Paul there as well. Maybe I miscounted. I'm not sure. Okay. How do the wrists feel? Good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, make sure you give your wrists a nice little twist. Your heart rate should be up a little bit now, which is good. The shoulders should feel warmed up and the body should feel warmed up as well. Okay, the next exercise we are going to do is the uber difficult handstand push-up. Now, full disclosure, whenever Paul saw the program that I had put together, he was like, there is no way. But I said, these guys are athletes and they're gonna be able to do it. So the next exercise is a handstand push-up. Now, a handstand push-up is probably one of the most difficult exercises, would you say? Yeah. Yes, one of the most difficult exercises that exists in this type of body weight training. But we are going to give you different levels. We're actually going to give you 4 different levels that you can choose from, and you can progress up to trying the very difficult one if you want. So the first level is simply just to come into a handstand position with your feet on the floor and your hips up. So again, what you're trying to do here is so go back, Paul, first of all. No, sorry, stay in almost like a dog head down position. So most people start their handstand from here, okay? This is not a handstand, this is a dog head down. You want to mimic the handstand action with the upper body. So you want to come forward so the shoulders are over the wrists. So just look down now in this position and check, are your shoulders over your wrists? If they're not, rock forward so your shoulders are over your wrists. Your hips come as high as you can get them, and then you're simply going to lower to the ground and push back up. So it's simply a lower to the ground, your forehead might come down to the ground and push back up. Now notice Paul's hands are super wide. Can you turn around to the camera, Paul? So the closer you put your hands, the harder it's going to be, okay? The wider your hands are apart, the easier this exercise is going to be. So just give yourself, a break and cut yourself some slack and start with your hands nice and wide. This is the first position of the handstand push-up. Second position would be hips slightly more elevated, right? So hands are super wide, well, not super wide, but as wide as you want them to be. The wider they are, the easier it is, remember. Spread your fingers, rock forward so your shoulders are over your wrists, lift your hips a little higher, and then simply press. You see how this mimics the action of a handstand? This is your second handstand push-up, okay? From here, you can progress into the third stage of a handstand press-up, which is your feet would be on a sofa, on a chair, or as you can see here, we have on a box. Now, you can just simply put your knees onto the box, which makes it slightly easier again. Feet come off. See how Paul's doing his lovely handstand push-up? He makes these look so easy. Or if you want to make it a little bit harder, you can lift your hips off and your feet off, you lift your knees off, straighten your legs into a pike. So again, your hips are over your head. So he's actually mimicking a handstand position here, simply because his hips are directly over his shoulders, which are directly over his wrists. This is a harder, again, position before we would even go into the very final handstand position, which is the handstand press up against the wall. Now, full disclosure, Paul can do these in the middle of the room without actually needing a wall, but we're not going to demo that today because that's like elite status, and we're not going to go there with you guys. But I just wanted to let you know that it is actually possible. So, with a handstand push-up, you can face the wall or face away from the wall. Facing the wall is better because it keeps your body in a better position. Hands are super wide, toes are on the wall, hips are away from the wall. You're going to take an inhale, drop into your push-up, Exhale, come back up. You want your forehead to push down towards the ground if you can. You're going to perform 5 reps of these, except Paul's not going to because he's just demoing and we don't want to wear him out. But that is actually a super difficult move to do. And again, the wider the hands are, the easier it makes it. If you do find those pretty easy, then you're Superman or Superwoman. But if you do find them super easy with the hands wide, you can bring the hands closer and that will make it much, much, much more difficult. So we're just going to aim for 5 reps of these, Paul, aren't we? Yeah. Are you going to do the full one or are you going to choose an easier one today? You've already done about 20 of them already. Okay, so Paul is going to do the full handstand push-up because for me this is very difficult. For him this is very easy. And we're just going to do 5 reps. So I want you to now choose your position of the handstand push-up, whatever that is for you, and we're going to perform 5 perfect form reps. You ready? Okay, go for it, Paul. Whenever you're ready, I will count you through. Paul's coming in against the wall. You might walk up, you might swing up. Shoulders are over the wrists. Hands are spread wide. Make sure you're tucking the tailbone, sucking in through the belly. Whenever you're ready, Paul, I'll count you in. Go. 1. Lower with control. 2. Nice. Nearly there. 3. Beautiful. Keep everything nice and tight. 4. Excellent. Just 1 more. 5. Nice. And then whenever you're ready, walk out. Now you could actually perform these also with your back to the wall, as many people do. The version that Paul did is actually very difficult and a lot of people find it hard because they feel like they're going to overbalance and fall. So if you wanted to perform these the other way with your back to the wall, we'll show a couple of those reps as well. So in order to start, you would simply put your hands about 6 inches from the wall, spread the fingers wide, arms are nice and wide. You're simply going to, with your dominant leg, kick up and put your feet on the wall. Now you will find your back is pretty arched. That's okay if that's the only way you can do it. And then you would simply, whenever you're ready, Paul, lower down and push back up. This is how many people will find it easier simply because of the balance. So if you want to perform them like this, that's totally fine. But you do want to be working towards having your belly to the wall like Paul does, because that's going to help you with your handstand, but it's also going to help you with your strength and your flexibility. Okay, so the next exercise we are going to do are wall walks. Okay, again, these are pretty difficult, but we do have a couple of different options for you. So if you want to take the easier option or the beginner option of wall walks, you are simply going to come down onto the ground into a box position. You're going to bring your hands into the shoulder position, which is into the handstand position, which is either hands are shoulder width or slightly wider than shoulder width. Fingers are spread. You're going to plug the arm bows into the sockets, push through the hands, broaden the scapula, and suck the navel towards the spine. Feet come off the floor at the back. Knees are nice and strong. Again, navel is pulled up, and you're simply going to walk your hands out. You may get to here and think, this is easy, and then you go to walk back in and you think, oh my God, not so easy. So only go as far as feels good for you. Do it again, Paul, so they can see. So you can literally just walk to here if you want, and then you can walk back in again. The further you walk out, the harder this is going to be. This is the beginner version of the exercise. If you want to make it slightly more difficult, then you would simply lift your legs and come into more of a, come into more of a plank position. And then you can simply walk your hands forward, keep your belly tight the whole time, and then you walk back in again. So your hands would come forward of your shoulders in this version. Again, super, super hard, but extremely good for stability in the core and extremely good for the shoulders. Now, the final and more advanced version of this exercise is actually walking your feet up the wall. So you start with your feet right on the wall, come in pretty close, and then walk your feet up. Walk your hands back and come in so your belly is against the wall. Then you're simply going to walk out and walk your feet down the wall. You're going to stop in almost a half pike position, and then you're going to walk back in again. This is terribly, terribly hard. Paul makes it look so easy, but once you try it, you're going to realize it's a little more difficult than he makes it look. So you're simply walking out to a straight position to make it even harder, and then walking back in. Thank you, Paul. Nice. You're probably tired after that one, are you? Yep. We're making Paul work super hard today. Okay, so we are going to do 5 wall walks, or 5 of the easier version of the walks. So we count 1 full repetition as walking up the wall and walking back out. That's 1. We're going to do 5 of these walks. So you can choose the easier version, or you can choose the intermediate version, or if you want to give the wall a go, you can give the wall a go. So choose your position. Paul's going to come in and bring his feet right up against the wall. So notice that he's only about 2.5 to 3 feet out from the wall. This is going to help you to get into a good position to start. Then he's simply going to rock forward so the shoulders are over the wrists, walk the feet up the wall, come into his starting position, making sure he's squeezing the belly, and he's simply going to walk whenever he's ready. Walking out, or if you're on the floor, you're simply going to walk to your position, pause, and then walk back in again. That is 1 repetition. Now, if you've started with this, just whenever you're ready, Paul, I'll keep counting you in. If you've started with this version and you get to here and you realize that it is far too difficult, then you are simply going to drop your feet onto the floor and continue on the floor without keeping your feet on the wall. Let's show them how they would do that, Paul, in the next rep. You're going to walk out. If you get to here, you realize it's too hard, you're going to drop your feet onto the floor, come into your second position, and then you're going to continue like this. Excellent. Nice. And then walk back in. That's 3 reps. You've got 2 more reps to go. Paul's going to stay here, walking out, making it hard for himself as he does, and then pulling back in again. You have 1 more rep to go. Excellent. And then walking back in. Woo! Who said working out from home was easy? Definitely not. You feeling it in the shoulders?
I'm good.
Yeah, and also what you'll find as well is if you're doing these on a hard floor, they're actually going to be easier because they're not going to put as much pressure on your wrists. We're actually performing these on soft mats, so there's a lot more of a pressure on the wrists simply because the heels of the hands are sinking into the mat. So it actually can make your wrists pretty sore if you are doing this on a soft surface. So we would always recommend that if you can, you do your shoulder workout on a hard, flat surface so as not to put extra pressure on the wrists. But if you've only got mats, then you've only got mats. Mats are actually a good thing, just not for shoulder workout.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 more exercises. Again, this next one is pretty deceptive. Your shoulders are probably feeling pretty burnt out by now, but this is really going to burn out the shoulders more, going to recruit more muscle fibers and going to build a lot of strength in the whole of the shoulder, the front, the middle, and the rear delt. An L-sit is what we're going to do next. Okay, so you have 2 different options for L-sits. You could, well, 3 different options actually. You could simply go to a box or a table, and you basically sit on the edge of it. You hang your fingers over the edge of the table. Make sure it's a very sturdy, like kitchen table or something. You don't want to be doing this on your coffee table in the living room, especially if it's glass. Make sure it's a very sturdy table. You simply sit on the box, hook your fingers over the edge, and then you would lift your body up. Knees can be bent. If you have the hip flexibility and the hamstring, you can straighten out like Paul, or you can just keep your knees bent and then you're going to sit back down. We're going to hold it for 5 seconds whenever we do it. Now, a slightly easier version would be if you have 2 supports, such as a sofa or 2 sofas or 2 couches or 2 tables is fine as well. I'm going to let Paul set those up to his level. And you would simply put your hands on the fronts of your sofas and you're going to come into an L-sit position. This is actually slightly easier because of the leverage you have. Your hands can be slightly further back, so you're not having to sit right forward. It just makes it slightly more comfortable, especially if your sofa is nice and soft. It's going to be better on your hands. A much harder version would be to perform an L-sit on the floor. You want to give it a go, Paul? Yeah. He's like, yeah, sure, game is a badger. So this is actually a much harder version of the L-sit. This is a very advanced version. So simply, and the most important thing about doing an L-sit on the floor is that you pull your hips back. So you're trying to really get a curve and a curl into the front of the body. It requires an enormous amount of hip flexor strength to perform this exercise. So your hands are spread super wide. If you have short arms like me, this is a very hard exercise. You're going to simply pull the hips back, lift up, and lift the legs. Again, Paul makes it look easy. I believe me, this is not an easy exercise. And we're simply going to hold for 5 seconds. You ready? Yep. What version would you like to try, Paul?
I'm going to do advanced with knees tucked.
He's going to do the advanced with the knees tucked, okay? So if the knees are tucked, it makes it slightly easier. If the legs are straight, obviously it is a lot harder. So whenever you're ready, we're going to count you in. 3, 2, 1, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Well done. That was super hard. Okay, we have just 1 more exercise to finish up your shoulders. And again, this is just to cause a nice burnout in the shoulder. If you work in the gym, quite often we will finish a shoulder day with a lovely exercise to really burn out the shoulders. This is your gym equivalent of a burnout. And it is simply a half burpee. You ready? So come into your burpee position. Again, you can choose whatever position works for you. So you can jump in and out, or you can simply step in and out like Paul is doing. Completely up to you. I know this is a full body exercise, but it actually burns into the shoulders as well. So whenever you're ready, I'll just get my timer. We're going to do 30 seconds of half burpees. Let me just pull up the timer. 30 seconds of half burpees to burn out the shoulders to finish up, and then you have another 2 rounds to go after this is finished. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Excellent. So Paul is jumping, making sure that you have the shoulders over the wrists at all times. You're not flapping into the hips. You're not allowing your hips to come down towards the earth. You're keeping the hips nice and high, keeping the arms super strong, keeping the scapula, the collarbones nice and broad. You've got 20 seconds gone. You have another 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Excellent. Well done, Paul. That was a super workout. Now, Paul will be very happy to hear that he is finished in this particular exercise, but you guys have another 2 rounds to go. So make sure that you stay safe during this shoulder workout. Make sure you choose a level that is appropriate for where you are at right now. Don't forget, you can progress through this journey as the program continues, and as you get stronger, you will be able to try the more advanced moves. But it's more important that you perform every exercise with perfect form every time, that you start at your level, and that you work up to achieving the strength that Paul has achieved through many, many, many years of training with bodyweight exercises. This is Kim Constable. Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys in the next workout.